didn't happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open.
For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise,
visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there, good evening, welcome along. It's Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock. It can only mean one thing. I'm back from outer space. Don't turn around now. Yes, it is the prediction show. And as always, let me bring him in without any further ado. And it's always great to have him on. And I thank him for giving up the time to join us. And it's Steve Lynex. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Good evening, Chris. Good night, mate.
Good, good. Now, seriously, I've got my background to match your top there.
I have to keep a warm, visible top on.
Well, you certainly, it's freezing, isn't it? You know, it's so cold. I must admit, I don't know. It's just I just prefer to put the heating on and then have a top, a loose top on. But then again, I've not had my latest gas bill, and with the way prices are going, who knows? I could be in for a shock, shall we say? Now, it's nice to have you back, Steve. Obviously, you weren't able to make last week when we had two games to review. What happened was that I stood in for you and voted how I thought you would for 1 week, and Brad, to make it fair, he voted the way you thought you might go for the second week. Problem is, you've had 2 really good weeks. And maybe that show the way we go forward. Let's just bring it in and just have a look and just see what the current scores are here. So Brad is on 93. I've caught him up on 93. Steve, you're only 9 behind us now on 84. So you're catching up. Brad
wasn't going to come on tonight because I thought when I saw what you'd done for me, I got more right when you did it than I did it. So
I know this is the thing, isn't it? But first of all, I was going to say you're an ex-player. Can you explain what is handball and what isn't handball these days?
I'm totally lost now. Absolutely totally lost. I think they're confusing the fans more and more week in, week out, and frustrating people by the decisions they're coming up with. They've got to stop messing about with football. I think they're just trying to make it all good for TV and for Sky and that, and it's killing everything. I watched over the weekend. you can't celebrate anymore because you don't know if it's a goal or not. But handball's handball, no matter what. And I think if they start trying to come up with all these scenarios and that, it's the game's going to go down the pan.
I mean, they just change it so often, don't they? Every year, it's a new set of rules, and I kind of feel sorry for the ref. But then that's why we've got VAR there. But again, the frustrating thing is it changes match to match.
That's right. Yeah, I think it just changes for whoever's doing the interpretation on that day. They're going to do it. They're going to say, right, it's got to be across the board. Don't get change of things, but one bloke will give it this week, another bloke won't give it next week, and
Exactly.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, let's get straight into it because one of the games is already kicked off, and I don't know the current score, so I can't sort of be influenced by that. I think Brad has sent, like I say, he sent his in. He hasn't actually given one for this game because I don't think he thought we were going to be doing it, but we might as well while we're on. Manchester United, Brighton. I mean, they say there's a lot of trouble, you know, and there's a lot, maybe things going on behind the scenes at Leicester. I mean, it's even worse at Man United, isn't it?
Well, like we've been saying for the last few weeks, the way Man United is set up now, they're a team of individuals. You can feel all the rumours coming out of the dressing room. You can see what's going on the pitch. The manager himself, I don't think they've taken to him, and I don't think his reputation before he came has changed anything. So I think they're going to be struggling till they get a nucleus of the troublemakers out, because there is 4 or 5 there. They're trying to get Man United to play their own way instead of the Man United way, and they think they're bigger than the club, and which, you know, you're never bigger than the club.
You're not, no. I mean, and they're on about Yuri possibly going there, and I think, you know, those waters have been muddied with Brendan saying, you know, as far as he knows, he's still talking. But you're always going to look at that and think, why would I want to go there? And he also wants, you know, Champions League as well. So Manchester United have really got to start sorting themselves out, haven't they?
They have, but you know, people say they want Champions League, but to me, I think it's just pressurising every manager now and pressurising every club. This golden ticket for, you know, the Champions League, I think it's you know, I can't understand it, to be honest. I can't, because it disrupts the league. It disrupts the way the players' mindset is.
Yeah,
and you know, it's just a modern game, I'm afraid. I think, you know, it's the way that the media puts it across and how good it is. But when you look at it, is it that good?
Well, I mean, I must admit, I don't think so. But that, you know, that's me, I guess. You know, now I've just filled that in for Brad there, because I think he would probably go for a United win. They are playing at the moment. How do you see this one going, Steve?
Well, the way Brighton's been playing away from home, you know, I don't know if they'll beat Man United, but I don't think they'll lose to them. So I'd have put that down for a draw, because Brighton have been consistent this year.
Yes,
and so has Man United. They've been consistent of not winning games.
That is true.
2 or 3 games on the trot. So I think until they sort themselves out, you know, I'd put them down for a draw or a loss every week.
I've been impressed with Brighton, and I mean, I know everybody goes on about Graham Potter, and I know I sort of have a bit of a moan and say, well, what's he doing and what have you. He is doing a good job, and I'm not disputing he is a good manager. If he can get Brighton into Europe this season, in whatever form it is for Brighton, because, you know, it's the first season of really challenging, I think he's on the way to becoming one of the better English managers, definitely. I mean, it's probably, as I say, he's on the verge anyway. I fancy him to get something today, so I'm actually going to go for an away win to Brighton. And I'd like to see them do it, simply because, you know what I like about the smaller clubs. Now, jumping on then to Saturday, and the rest of the games, BT Sport, first game, West Ham United, who we know got a lucky point, I would say. And I think the West Ham fans that I've spoken to sort of are pretty much in agreement with that. But they face a resurgent Newcastle United. And although this is away from home, Newcastle has just now, Eddie Howe has got a bit of a tune out of them.
He's getting some momentum now. I watched him over the weekend, and I think the mindset's changed. You can see that the players now all working for each other, starting to close the ball down a lot quicker. And I think with the results coming their way, they're going to start getting more and more in confidence, and they're going to be Newcastle of old and be really hard to get points off. So. On this result, I don't think West Ham got out of second gear against Leicester. I don't know what it was. They weren't the same attacking West Ham that we've been watching over the last few weeks. So this one I think will be interesting. I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
You're going for a draw there, Steve. I must admit, I'm going to totally agree with you on that. Brad has gone for the West Ham. I like West Ham and I like to see what they're doing, but they are stuttering. They've won. Let's have a look. West Ham have won just 2 in the last 5, but they've lost 2 as well, and obviously got that draw against us. When you say they did stutter a bit, but Newcastle, they haven't lost in 5. That's something I never thought I'd be saying this season. 2 draws followed by 2 wins. The momentum is with them. And I think they're going to I don't think they're going to go down now. I really don't. I think there's worse teams in there, in and around that mix. So I agree with you. But if it was at home, I'd be tempted to go for a Newcastle win. But I'm going to agree with you and think it's away from home. Newcastle will get something here, and I've gone for the draw. Excuse me, like yourself. I guess you're going to go for Brentford. They're away to Arsenal. A repeat of the first match of the season. I can just say we were tempted whilst you weren't here to put you down for Arsenal and Spurs wins, by the way, but we didn't. But it did cross our mind, like, should we just be a little bit naughty? But they were ones we definitely knew you'd go for. Arsenal, I don't know. They confuse me this season, Arsenal. Sometimes they play well, sometimes they don't. And they've won 3 in 5, but they did lose, but it was to Man City, in fairness. But they couldn't beat Burnley. And then you've got a Brentford who are really on the slide. They've lost 4 and drawn 1 in the last 5. And I don't think they'll necessarily get drawn into the relegation battle, but I think that early promise they showed when they came up, I think they've realised now the reality of the Premier League, and I think they would be happy if they finished where they are now at the end of the season, so that 14th, 15th position. But for me, I'm going for an Arsenal win.
Yeah, I'm not going to go against my principles. You know me. I'm going to go for a Brentford win, but Brentford have got the same scenarios like Norwich and people like that, and Sheffield United and your Leeds. When you do come up and the clubs in the Premiership are not used to the way you play, you tend to have a good run of games. But now I think the other teams are starting to suss them out a bit.
Yes,
and I think that's where they're starting to struggle. But
I think they. A brilliant signing they did with Christian Eriksen. I think he can make a difference to them. I think I was a player that I wouldn't have minded at Leicester, but that was a good capture for them.
Great capture, absolutely fantastic signing. But I hope they don't try and rely on him too much. Give him another heart scare. You never know. But no, a breath of fresh air. That is.
I think they've done well to get him, and I think he's gone to the right sort of team, because Brentford, I don't think and I don't mean this awfully, but they don't necessarily push him maybe as much as a bigger club would do.
Yeah, I think he's gone there because same thing again with the media hype and that, and the top six hype. I don't think he wants to go to one of those big clubs where he feels that he's under pressure and he has to perform all the time. I think he's just glad to be playing football, and I think he's just going to go there and show us the player that he used to be by just being happy and normal.
And let's be honest with you, it's great to see him back as a neutral, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant that he's got to this point, really. So welcome back, Christian, and good luck for the rest of the season. Aston Villa hosting Watford. Watford on the third manager of the season. That is something we'd probably expected to say. They're down, aren't they, Watford?
I think so. Yeah, you can see it in the body language. I think he's trying to change things to what the principles of before, but they look all over the place. There again, they're playing Villa. I think Villa now, when Gerrard coming, he was a bit of fresh air, but I think he's starting to morph into a top six manager where he's trying to change his tactics too much and try and play, against each different team every week rather than just sticking to his principles and getting Villa to play how they were doing when he first got there. So tricky one, but I think Villa will get it easy.
Yeah, Andrew said here, third manager, but probably not the last one. Hey, we know Nigel Pearson, 3 games to go. They sacked him. I think it's mad anyway that I say Ranieri definitely wasn't the manager to keep them up, as much as obviously I love him. They've won 4 games. They've not won in 5, but they got a draw against Burnley and a draw against Newcastle. Maybe there were games they needed to win because they were down there. But are we expecting too much of managers these days? Are we, like a player, as soon as they come in, you're thinking, oh, they're going to get that bounce. And then you expect, because maybe you've been struggling with the previous managers, that they're suddenly going to make miracles happen.
I think the emphasis is getting too much for managers. I think, going back to the same again, you hear me arguing about it again, modern day football, we talk far more about the managers than we do about the teams and the players.
Yes.
And I think, I think that's one of the problems that we're getting at the moment, because all we seem to do is talk about the managers and how they play and how the systems play, rather than how the clubs play and how the players are playing.
We're going to welcome Dan in, as always, my brother from another mother. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Just picked Esme up from my mum's, dropped my son off back with his mum from my previous relationship, and now I'm back with you, Chris. Back to live another day.
Hello, Mrs. Riley, if she's watching in. That's Dan's mum. Dan's mum and me. Maybe in my mind, but we're very close at one point. We weren't, seriously. We weren't. We were not. I'm just saying that as a joke. Just to play catch up, Dan. Let's stick you in and have a bit of fun. I'm sure somebody said that to you before now. Only Man United Brighton. They're playing now. Which way would you see that ending up?
They're currently playing now. Did you say?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to stick me down for a draw. I think they'll cancel each other out. United have become the draw specialists in recent weeks.
Yeah. West Ham, Newcastle.
Another draw.
Another draw. Believe you me, Steve, I think he's looking where you and me have gone, and he's following. And Arsenal, Steve can, as you know, if you've watched this regularly, Steve can never go for Arsenal,
Definitely. I had to look then. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course, Steve's gone against Arsenal.
But are you going to go against Arsenal?
No, I'm going to go for a third draw on the bounce.
You are the Liberal Party of the prediction leagues, aren't you? I'm surprised you can sit down. You got that many splinters in your backside, mate. As Andrew says, there's too much money in football, puts the manager under more pressure. Massively. I think the manager should just be given more time, and that should be set in. But Steve, going back to Villa Watford, which way did you see it ending up, though?
Villa.
Again, I can't. I'm worried that I'm agreeing with you so much because you've not been doing well, but I've got to agree with you on that one. Let's have a look. And that was 3 in a row with Brad. He's gone for that as well. Surely it can't be another draw for you, Dan.
Nah, full house on Villa for this. Watford aren't strong enough. They're not strong enough. And as much as Roy Hodgson's come in, he'll steady the ship as he's done with Palace and stuff like that. But with Watford, it's all well and good steadying a ship, but if it's sailing in rough seas, there's nothing you can do about it.
No. I tell you what, it's going to be an interesting one in a minute for this for Dan. But Steve, first of all, Brighton, who they're playing now, are hosting. Some people say they're down already. I will be honest with you, I'm one of those.
Myself included, Chris. Myself included.
And even the Burnley fan is given. You know, when your own fans are giving up on you, that's it. Just give up and go down. I mean, Burnley. I'm surprised because, like I say, last season they struggled. Before that, they weren't a bad Premiership team. They were mid-table. But they've just had an awful season. They did get 3 draws on the run with Arsenal, Watford, and Man United. They maybe should have. Well, they needed to win that Watford game, to be honest with you. They lost to Liverpool so fair credit to them on that. And they got beaten by Leeds. But they've only won 1 game all season. And we've already talked about Brighton. Steve, they're not going to break that habit, are they?
I like Burnley. I've always liked Burnley, and to be fair, I'm surprised where they are this season. But I think it's a club that have got good principles. They've got good rapport with players and fans and that. And I think, like you say, it's just a bad run at the moment. And I think, like every bad run, it's got to come to an end soon. And I think when it does, I think Burnley will get back to the way they were. But saying that again, when you sell one of your best strikers and that, it's a bit worrying. Looking where the goals are going to be coming from. But no, I do hope Burnley do it. And going back to predictions tonight, I don't know if I want to spoil it to anybody, but Man United have just got 1 up against Brighton.
I was just looking then, actually, Steve.
Oh, yeah. So, will it do Brighton's confidence any good if they lose tonight, or will it spur them on? So, but I'm going to go for a Burnley win because I think that the run's got to come to an end soon.
Oh, I like you, Steve. I mean, I liked you anyway, but you've gone well up in my estimation.
He's easily bought, Steve. Don't believe it. He'll hate you when you go off camera. Don't worry about it.
I think the Premiership needs teams like Burnley. I think it's a fresh air to have clubs like that. You're going to get the ones.
See, this is the thing that pisses me off with opposition fans as well. They seem to think, bring back the league when it was Bolton and Blackburn and teams like that and Stoke in there. Why? If you're going to go off clubs with history, we've won the top division twice. We've punched above our weight for a few seasons now in terms of where we are. But every team that's in that division deserves to be there. Even Norwich, as much as we slag them every season, they've all deserved the right to be there. And I think it's just people that are just bitter. They can't hack it. That I don't know.
I don't want to upset too many Leicester fans, but I think you've got to look at Burnley and you've got to look at the same thing the way Leicester have gone. Leicester have gone doing well, gone in there, stayed there for so long, and now the last couple of this season, they're starting to come down to earth. But they've had the same journey as Burnley, but Burnley's been in there longer and stayed there consistently longer. And
it's like that motto, isn't it? Built, not bought. And that's what we sort of need to continue. Don't just look at Newcastle. They're buying their way out of it. Look at Blackburn in '95. They bought the division, and you look at now, and we're sort of, you slowly add and you build and you build. You don't just chuck, the cash at it. But that's what I like about Leicester. And I sort of put Everton in that bracket as well when they were under David Moyes. They picked gems from the lower leagues and they was on a building process. But now, obviously, that Mashiri's come in and completely ripped that script up. But yeah, us and Leicester, I think, are pretty much 2 teams on a level paring for sort of their club ethos, if you get me.
But that's what it's all about. If you look at the backgrounds and you look at the fans, you've got solid fans, which are club fans, whereas you got your fickle top 6 fans where, you know, your kiddies will go buy a Man City shirt because they're top of the league. They'll buy a Chelsea one and do that, and they'll support them for a few weeks and the season, then it goes out. But your clubs like your Burnleys and your Leicesters and, you know, Norwich to an extent, they've got a loyal following. And I think that's what football's all about. And I think we need to keep that team and club spirit together to make English football stronger, because we are getting too much of a foreign influence, and we are getting too much of a media interference.
You're totally right. I mean, as everybody knows, my 4 children were born in Burnley, and my oldest, I said to him, you know, I don't mind if you support Burnley. I would have done, but I said to him I didn't, because he was born in Burnley.
What Chris doesn't tell you is he's over him with a knife and a torch. I'm telling you now.
No, well, I said,
I swear.
It's Leicester or Burnley. I said, but you don't support the Liverpools, the Chelsea, the Man Utd just because they're on telly. And I know we were listening on the radio once. Leicester were playing Burnley, and he comes running into my room going, Dad, Leicester has scored. I thought, I've got you, mate. I've got you on that one. But what I like about Burnley is, and there's not much, I've got to be honest with you, but what I do like about Burnley is the fact that they've come up and they've made a fist of it. You know, it wasn't like when Wigan came up. For years, they were just staying up. Then the next season, they'd just stay up. And you're thinking, like, when it gets like that, give it a break, go down and let somebody else come up. But Burnley didn't. I mean, they were in Europe not so long ago. And Sean Dyche is a good manager. The ground's bloody freezing. I'm not going to lie. On a wet Tuesday night in January, you don't want to be drawn away to Burnley, I'll tell you. And I'm sorry, Dan, but I have backed you, as you know, a couple of times I've gone for Burnley, and you've let me down. You've let me down badly. And I did say that was it. I am not going to back Burnley anymore. And I'm going to be in Brad's stable here. I'm going to go for Brighton and Hove win, especially if they lose tonight. They'll be wanting to get back on the bike and ride, as they say. I presume you're going for a Burnley win, Dan?
No, I'm going to say it's another point on the road. To be fair, I know we need to start changing. I mean, you look at how many draws we've had this season, ridiculous amount. We do need to start turning them draws into wins. But as you say, you know, we're on a good run at the minute. You know, we've managed to take points off Man United, off Arsenal. We were very unlucky to lose, you know, against Liverpool. We don't know what's happening with Weghorst yet. He went off injured, so we don't know what the situation is with that, because that leaves us a bit short up top. So, as you say, you know, the game tonight, you're looking at Brighton wanting to bounce back, and we need to put a shift in. But we're a second half of the season team. We always have been. You know, funnily enough, I was looking at the stats earlier, and I've been saying about Chris Wood and the fact that he's 30 and he only got 3 goals so far this season. It was at this point last season he was sat on 3 goals, but still finished the end of the season with 11.
But you can't rely on that every season.
Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. You know. Don't get me wrong. You can't rely on history repeating itself. You've got to do, you know, the dirty work as soon as the season kicks off. But I think for us, even if we do dig deep, the fact that the teams around us are starting to pick up points, it's just too little, too late.
Well, Dunk's been sent off, so he won't be playing against you on Saturday.
And they've not got Dan Burn either, so they could be quite weak at the back, really.
Yeah.
And if we've got Ashley Barnes playing against them, I don't fancy their defence.
No, Man City are 5-0 up against Sporting, just as an aside. But can I just say, I think if I were all short up top, mate, none of us have got a lot up
We
there.
certainly are. We certainly are.
I mean, to me, you can't. I mean, you've had 3 draws in 5. Another draw won't be good enough for you, I'm afraid. If
No,
you
I
can't
agree.
get these wins, then I think you're already down, to be honest with you. And I don't like saying that because, like I say, you're not a proverbial relegation battler. You know, you're a good, steady mid-table. But, you know, I think this, last season it started and the season you've been left behind. Steve, Crystal Palace is hosting the next game. they, again, another team that started well, but they've not won in 5. They've had 2 losses, West Ham and Liverpool, and then they've had 3 draws with the aforementioned Brighton, Norwich, and who's the other one? Brentford. Chelsea, World Club champions, and congratulations to Chelsea. Whether you like them or not, English teams in Europe, I always want to do well. And well done, on taking that. And I forgot to say, Andrew said there, Steve, if you run out of toilet paper, have you got a Spurs shirt you can wear? You can use, sorry.
I've used that many a time in the toilet, believe
me. And Chelsea, I mean, I had them down as title challengers. I think they're too far behind now. They've got a couple of games in hand, but they've only won 1 in 5. This is going to be interesting, Steve.
This one you can see draw written all over it. I think Chelsea have lost their way a bit. He came in with, again, high expectations and a freshness where he started to get a few wins when he came in. But you're getting to see a pattern now with the top managers. It's all about them, and it's all about how they change things to, rather than keep the memento going and things like that. So Chelsea have lost a bit of the spark which they had when he first come. Same with the Palace. So I think these two teams are turning into the draw specialists.
And that's what Brad has gone for. He's gone for a draw. And you're going for a draw as well, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
Yeah. For me, before I come from, I want to say Chelsea, but like you say, this has got draw written all over it. But I'm actually going to stick my neck out. I think Chelsea, they're on a high from the World Club Championships. They need to start winning, and I'm going to go for a Chelsea win, just to be different. Dan, the draw specialist this week. Are you going midway again?
No, I'm going for an upset. I think Palace will take this. I think between Palace and Brighton, both teams have sort of been on a sort of steady decline, from the form at the beginning, the first half of the season. However, as Steve, alluded to with Burnley, we're eventually, teams are going to come to Burnley, or we're going to come up against us, and they're going to start thinking, they're due a win soon. I hope it's not us. I hope it's not us. And they're going to start shitting themselves. Chelsea will be on a high, and I totally agree with what you're saying. But I just think that Vieira tactically may have one over Tuchel this weekend.
So you're going to go there. Brilliant. Just looking, and can I just say, I know I'm not only bad at predictions for myself, I'm actually bad at predicting other people. I predicted for Brad for Man United to win, and they're going to, and he's going against me. So damn, Brad. Damn. You owe me one. You owe me one. Now, everybody knows Norwich are my second favourite team in the Premier League. Not. I don't have anything against them. And I just, you up, down, give it a break, Norwich. Have a couple of seasons down below. Let somebody else have a go. Because you're coming up and you're not even giving it a fight.
I was going to say, we've already spoken about Watford. God, you didn't half have a rant on my channel about Watford, did you? Jesus, he did not hold back, Steve, I'm telling you. It was literally a good 10, 15-minute segment. Usually when you send a kid home to talk about a specific subject, and he's gone up and he's gone that far into it, he's gone off script and just gone, right, Watford this, Watford that, blah, blah, blah. And he just proper went off. Me and Rich were just sat there like, what do we do here?
He exaggerates, Steve. Tell you what, if I didn't talk, there'd be long silences on his shows. I'll tell you. Now, I just think, Watford are the same as Norwich. Brentford have come up and they've given it a go. And Norwich of a few years ago were doing all right, but just recently, both these teams are up and down, and I'm thinking, like, you are stopping somebody else, like another Brentford, giving it a really good go. And for that, I want to see them go down. And for that reason, apart from the fact that Liverpool are going to just use it as shooting practice, I'm going for a Liverpool win, as indeed has Brad. Brad actually went 5-0. It could even be worse than that. But yeah, I'm going to go for a Liverpool win. Steve, you can't see it any other way, can you?
No, you can't. Not with Liverpool at the moment. They're the machine that they've been for the last few years. Even if they don't play well, they seem to get the results. Even if it's by an unfavourable referee decision or a missed goal, but that's Liverpool all over.
Yeah.
But Norwich they came up this year on the back of their last manager who they got rid of. He done well when he went down into the Championship, brought him back up and tried to do the same principles, which I think failed him. I think if you do see him stay up, I think you will see a different Norwich next year because they'll be playing a different format and from the start of the season. So I think it's the only reason they're down there and the way they're playing is off the back of the last manager, which he stuck to his principles, and it didn't work.
I mean, Norwich, they've come back, Steve, under Dean Smith. And they are, got a couple of wins and draws and what have you. But maybe it's too late because you're looking at, Burnley, Watford, Norwich holding those bottom three places. Newcastle was the ones that everybody thought was going to struggle, but obviously their fortunes have changed for whatever reason. So you think that they're going to climb out of it. So they need like an Everton. Their fortunes will probably change under Lampard. So then you're looking at Leeds, Brentford. Are they going to be dragged into it enough for Norwich to get out? I don't think But are you going for a Liverpool win here, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going for Liverpool win.
Yeah,
I think it'll be
quite
cool.
Dan, are they going to be playing you next season?
Bingo, full house for Liverpool. There's as much as Norwich have started to put a bit of fart back in the second half of the season. It's this, they recently got tubbed off Man City at the 2-0. They're going to get another schooling off Liverpool.
Definitely. Like I said, I just think it could even end up embarrassing, to be honest with you. Steve, Southampton hosting Everton. Everton, since Frank went in, I mean, it's only been a few games. It's not been win. That they have struggled a little bit, but they did win last time out against Leeds. Southampton, I kind of do like Southampton. I mean, they're intense, but they're just so inconsistent this season. They've won, they've lost, they've drawn, they've won, they've drawn in their last 5. But they got that draw against Man United. I think Southampton are going around about the job quietly. They're going under the radar. I think Ralph's a very good manager. I think to take 2 9-0s in 2 seasons, A, well done to the board for sticking by him, but B, not letting that club disintegrate, which it could easily have done. How do you see this one going?
This one, I can see, to be fair, I've watched Southampton now and I've been impressed the way they've been playing the last few games. They never seem to give up. They've got their style of play. They're getting harder to play against. But I think Frank's going in now, and you look at the last couple of games where Everton have played, they're starting to chase down the ball from the kickoff. They're starting to put high pressure on, and I think he's going to get a momentum there. But I was just looking at the bottom of the table or mid-table, I don't think even Leicester are safe at the moment because they're only 10 points, above the third from bottom. So I think the second half of the season for the bottom half now is going to be really interesting, and they're all going to be playing, each other. And it's which club gets the momentum now and gets the 3 or 4 games on the bounce because, if you're looking at Leicester and you look at the, Southampton, people that's just out of there, if they carry on with a bad run and not get anything, they're going to be panicking more than the teams at the bottom because the teams at the bottom have already had their bad run. And like I said, with Burnley and that, the teams from the bottom, their run's got to change at some time, which is gone 3/4 of the season. So, You know,
but our bad run started on the second game, Steve. We've just been bad all season as well.
And you know, I watch the forums, I watch the thingamabobs, and look at people saying Rodgers out and that. But he has, to me, in my eyes, he has been the problem because, as like I said to you a few weeks ago, Leicester have lost their identity now. They've lost their style of play, and they're doing a mini Man United at the moment because they're playing like as a team of individuals, which you can see on the pitch that they're looking at each other. What are we doing? Where are we going? What are we doing? And you know, you've got to do something to change that now, or you are going to get dragged down.
Totally. I mean, I agree with you on so much of that. I mean, you know, the fact that I'd rechristened him Brendan Bellend after the West Ham game. I mean, I put that loss totally 100% down to him. Not the fact that he brought Vestergaard on, but just the fact that you make the substitution at that point with 2 minutes to go, and you put an extra defender in the mix, and the 4 defenders that have been there for 92 minutes that know each other, that have played that game together. Suddenly there's an extra defender on there. Who's doing what? Who's he going to be marking? What's happening? Confusion. And it's the old rule, don't make a substitution before a corner. But he did that. But that said, you know, he's had to make changes because of the injuries. So I hope he's given longer. There's no point in getting rid of him now for me, because if the new manager comes in, he hasn't got a transfer window to play with, and all it could just disrupt it even more by coming in with another style of play, because that manager will have a different idea. And then come the summer, he's going to bring in a load more players, and what Brendan has started may go amiss. But then, of course, Brendan's now saying he may be bringing more players in anyway and doing a Fergie, which isn't nothing wrong with that, because Fergie had 3 or 4 teams that he rebuilt while he was at Man United. So maybe that is going to happen. Third season syndrome for Brendan, but then nobody's given him a chance to have a go at that 4th season. But I think we'll have enough to stay up. But you've cheered me up, Steve.
No, you've got to look at it though. You know, there's only one person to blame, and you can turn around. You either blame the manager or you blame the players. But at the moment, you can't blame the players and you can't blame the manager, because they're both the same at the moment. So you have to have a defined area which you can blame and which you need to work on. Now, do you work on the players and get more players in, or do you change the manager, work on the manager, change the manager? Because a set of players don't become a bad set of players overnight or over the season. But that's what's coming from Leicester, and that's what's coming from, you know, a couple of teams, is that you've got to find what the problem is, and is it the players, which you can rectify and change, or is it the manager? And I think that's where the confusion's lying, is people are staying loyal to the players and never going at the manager. But is it the players' fault or is it the manager's fault?
Well, the manager, I think we've said this before, Dan, you know, you sack one manager or sack 15 players, and the buck stops with the manager. He gets the big money, you know, he's got the name manager on the door. The buck stops with him because he's got to organise the team. So going back to Southampton, Everton, Steve.
Sorry, take what's happening at Man United. They've changed the manager, but have they got any better since they've changed the manager?
Exactly. You know,
the same teams there, the same players are there.
Yeah,
a different manager, but you still got the same mindset.
But then again, they've got a manager who's only there temporary, and they look at him and think, you know, you're not going to be managing me next season. But it's an interesting season, and one I can't wait to end and look forward to next season. But Southampton, Everton, which way do you see this going, Steve?
Everton win.
You're going for an Everton win. Whoa, okay. Dan, I'm going to call you Brad then. Dan, which way are you going to go?
You don't know what you're going to get from this Frank Lampard side. I mean, I think they got a good bit of belief in their win against Leeds. But again, Southampton, another one of them teams that you don't know whether, as you said, go under the radar. I'm going to sort of, part of me was screaming inside to say Southampton. However, I like splinters up my arse, so I'm going to sit on the fence.
Not just splinters is what I've heard is true. Allegedly. You're agreeing with Brad because Brad went for the draw. I'm going Southampton because, like I say, they're slowly going about the business. The thing is with Southampton is they're settled. You know, Frank's come in, he's brought some new players in. I think Southampton, one of those clubs that didn't do any business in the transfer window, so it's the same team that he's had for a while. He got rid of Vestergaard to us. He must have been sat there laughing at that and spending the 15 million. I am going to go for Southampton. It's at Southampton, and I think they're going to do it. Late game on Saturday, Steve, on Sky Sports. Surely, knowing you as I know you, you're going to go for an away win to Spurs over Man City, aren't you?
No.
Some things in life are certain. Like Saturday will always follow Friday.
Just hoping it's the same result that Man City got tonight. That's all I can say.
What are they up to at the moment? Oh, no, still 5. Still 5. What one day, Steve, you will surprise me. You will surprise me. But Dan Conte, he came in and he was unbeaten. They were lucky against, you say they're either lucky against Leicester or Leicester threw it away. I think they could still be playing now if it was that referee. But they've not won now. They've lost a few on the trot. Maybe things aren't going quite Conte's way now.
Yeah, I mean, the 2-0 loss against Wolves was a shock, a bit of a surprise result, to be fair. I think a lot of people thought that, this is where Tottenham are probably in their comfort zone. Sort of they'll just wrap this game up nice and easy. But Wolves went there with a game plan and it paid off. A lot of people thought Wolves would be weakened losing, the speed merchant that is Adama Traore, but that's pretty much what's happened. It strengthened them, and they rallied round together, and they got the result. I had to laugh, when you see Conte's face, thinking like he's just one of those managers. He looks right smug, and stuff like that. And it's nice to see as Steve will probably agree, it's nice to see any Spurs manager get that smug look whapped straight off his face. So, keep that trophy cabinet empty because, I can, it's City all over. City have got this. This is a game that City must win as well to keep the points difference between them and Liverpool.
Now, so Brad's gone for, he went for a 6-1 Manchester City win, so he's very much in the Man City side. I mean, I don't understand this hatred for Tottenham. I think they're a marvellous team, and I really hope that Conte can turn them around and get them into Europe. Not. I hate Tottenham. I absolutely hate them, especially after the way they beat us the other day. I hope they get stuffed. Man City... I mean, the title's just theirs. It's theirs to throw away. I can't see anything other than a Manchester City win here. Looking against Conte, particularly, I say, over the years against Tottenham, this season, I just don't like them. And I think it was the cockiness when they got Conte in and they suddenly started winning. It was like, this is it now. We're going to do it. Well, yeah, the wheels are slightly wobbling, aren't they?
But look how well that went for Liverpool for God knows how many years. This is our season, lad. This is our season. No, it's not. It hadn't been your season for 30 years. Park down, sit in the background, forever in everybody else's shadow. God's sake. But, on the flip side of that, Tottenham have they think they're a big club. They think they're amongst the elite just because they've got this big turd ball of a stadium. And, it's...
You just take off all for Burnley, do you?
Yeah, turn more. But the thing is, with Spurs, I just don't get it. They're a team punching well above their weight, trying to. They're that friend that wants to be friends with the popular kids, and the popular kids are like, yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm. Well, Man United are still winning. David says, good evening, how are you? Hello, everyone. I just think this is such a difficult season. It is. Totally agree with you on that, David. Our best defenders are all injured. Tactics have not always been great, or his subs, but we cannot discount impact of injuries. I counted up the other day, David, I can name you 9 defenders that at some point have been injured this season. Not necessarily all together, but right backs, centre backs, left backs, wingers. 9, and I don't think any club would be able to survive. I mean, Liverpool only lost Van Dijk and they struggled. A bit of a lot of local derby, but it's a hatred derby, Steve. The two Uniteds, Leeds are hosting Manchester United, who I say are still winning 1-0 at the moment. Bloody hell. Did nobody saw me give that win to Brad, did they?
No.
No, I'll go back and edit that bit out.
Yeah, I'm going to say they still won't when you crop it out, Chris.
Yes. Steve, this is actually a tighter one to call than you would have said it would have been at the start of the season.
Yeah, and I think, it's all about this. That game is what Leeds team are going to turn up. I think if the proper Leeds team turn up, I think Man United will struggle. But which Leeds are going to turn up? Is it going to be the one that fights and bosses the game and goes at you, or is it going to be the disjointed one where they just haven't got a clue? So I'd like, and I'm hoping, and I'm going to go for this because I'm not a top 6 liker. So I'm hoping I'm going to go for a Leeds win.
I mean, you basically summed Leeds up there, and if you look at the last 5, it's almost like a mini analysis of their season. They beat. I'm sorry to say this, Dan. They beat Burnley 3-1. They beat West Ham United, which is no mean feat this season, 3-2 away from home. Then they go and lose to Newcastle. They draw with Villa. That was a good point for them. And then they lost 3-0 against Everton. As Steve said, Dan, I mean, that is Leeds United season in 5 games. You just don't know what they're going to do.
No, and it's sort of, for me, this is the season where people realise Bielsa does all the credit that Bielsa got getting them promoted. I understand that. But as soon as they got promoted, it was all a case of Bielsa was being spoken about, as though he was amongst the elite. He's up there with all these top great managers and stuff like that. If that's the case, then so's Sean Dash, so's whoever, so's Nigel Pearson when he got Leicester promoted. For me, Bielsa has done well with what he's done. It's second season syndrome for Leeds. They have got a strong enough squad to get out of it. This is the game where I think Leeds will have more about them. You'll have someone like Calvin Phillips, as much as he's injured, he'll still be in there at half-time saying, listen, this is Leeds against Man United. This is a game that, to the Leeds supporters, is quite important to have the bragging rights of. And that's what you need, like a Leeds lad, someone in there to sort of rally the troops. And they'll also want to, sort of cause revenge for the loss against Everton. They'll sort of just want to, a reaction, should I have said, sorry. They'll want to react, by sort of losing to a team that pretty much is still in that bottom half hunt for trying to stay in the division. So, yeah, I'm with Steve 100%. You don't know what Leeds you're going to get, but I think when you've got a team like United that's full of 11 egos on a football pitch playing for themselves and not for the team, you've got to look more at Leeds to win this.
Brad has disagreed with both of you there. He's gone for Man United 6-1 win. I don't know what he's been drinking, but well, he does live in Manchester, and so maybe that's something to do with it. Dave says without
Bamford, is that scoreline, United fans can count that scoreline on one hand.
Yeah, without Brentford and Calvin Phillips in midfield, Leeds are just not making. Just missing so many key players. It's like us without Vardy. No real attack. I think Leeds are one of those teams that sometimes when the chips are down and it's a game, it's almost opposite to what we did against Forest. You know, we should have gone into that Forest game saying, this is Forest, this is our big rivals. We've not played them for 8 years. Come on, guys. And I think Leeds should be looking at this and going, I mean, we know, you know, the rivalry between Leeds and Man United. For Man United, it's second only to Liverpool. And I think they were sat there going like, this is Man United coming. We need to get something here.
It's like you and Steve said though, Chris. You and Steve said in that watch along prior to kickoff that you're missing a Leicester-born player in there to sort of say you don't understand the importance this game has. Yeah. And that's why I think if you're going to get someone like Calvin Phillips in there, as much as he's injured, just to even pop his head round the door and say, you know, do it for Yorkshire. Something like that, you know.
Yes. Where's Sean Bean when you need him, eh?
Yeah.
You know?
Go out, you're going to die for 3 points, you dirty old bastard.
He turns up with that sword, then you would do. I was tempted to go for Leeds because it is at Leeds, but Man United have shown tonight maybe they have got something about them. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm just going to go for a draw on this one. I'm going to do. It's called doing a Dan. I'm going to do a Dan. The big game of the weekend. As I say, a repeat of the first game of the season. It was for one of the only 2 times we managed to keep a clean sheet, although I think that was more down to Wolves not being able to find the target. Steve, we're off to Wolves on Sunday on Sky Sports, the 4:30 kickoff. Again, and I say this every week, and I'm getting bored of saying it, it's a must-win for Leicester, isn't it?
I'm worried for this one. I think you're playing Wolves at the wrong time. I think Wolves, if you look at, like you say, what we've been talking about, they've come quietly from nowhere. I think they're pushing now for, is it a top 5, top 6 place?
Yeah.
You know, they've got everything right all over the pitch at the moment. Everybody seems to be firing on all cylinders. So I'm a bit worried for Leicester this week.
You're going for Wolves with your reverse psychology.
I'm going to go for Wolves, yeah. Hoping that, you know.
Whilst you're on, and so I'm not bothering you on text again, I might as well take your score predictions. I forget this every week. I might as well take your actual physical prediction for the league.
Well, for the Wolves Leicester.
For the Wolves Leicester, yeah.
It's going to be 2-0 Wolves.
2-0 Wolves, fair enough. I can totally see where you are coming from. Dan, I'm going to dread asking you this after what I said about Burnley, aren't I? But Wolves, they've only lost 1 in 5, and that was to Arsenal. They beat Man United, they beat Southampton, they beat Brentford, and of course, last time out, they beat Tottenham Hotspur, as we said earlier. I had them down as relegation battlers this time, not to go down, but to be down there struggling. But, you know, I thought Nuno's gone. He was such a good fit. Income's large, and he does the same. I mean, you know, Tottenham, Wolves have done, you know, they've just, it's almost like they've carried on with, you know, what? Did we change our manager? Oh, wow. And Leicester, we know all about what's happening at Leicester at the moment, but I'm sure you're going to be a good guy and you are going to go for a Leicester win.
You're spot on. I mean, I'm using Steve's logic here that all runs must come to an end, and whether it's Wolves 1 in 5 or whether it's Leicester's bad run of form and, you know, bad luck at the moment, I think it's a case of one's going to change in this game. I hope, and I do hope that it's in terms of Leicester. As much as, you know, when you said that you're only 10 points away, you know, it's like, oh, another team in there with us, brilliant. But I'm not going to look at it like that because 10 points is bloody miles away for us. So
yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go for Leicester for this, no matter how much you slandered Burnley, Chris. I just think this is the perfect turning point. This is the perfect game where if you get a result in this will spur you on in this second half of the season. This could be the game that puts you on a run of results.
The thing is, Dan, and I appreciate what you're saying there, and thank you for the support. I will always wear it.
No problem.
I've said so
it's
many...
It's just come through. You sent me that 25 quid.
Yes, yeah. It's not cleared yet, so don't be spending it. But I've said this, I said this after Man United. I said this after the first Liverpool league game. This is the game. This is where now we're gonna go on from here. We're gonna move on from this. I think Nottingham Forest for me was the low point of the season. That was even worse than getting knocked out the Europa League because of the performance. And I still say, we needed, more or less, we should have had the youth team in there, the under-23s. At least they battled against Watford and, of course, beat them. But there was a low point. You've got to come back and then show some fight. Liverpool, people saying, "Oh, that was a better performance. We only lost 2-0." But when you watch that game and analyse it, Liverpool were only in second gear. If Liverpool had gone up a few gears, it could have been embarrassing. So I can't take any real positives from that. And even with the West Ham game, the fact of the matter is we shouldn't have been in a position where we're arguing over a handball or not. We should have been out of sight, But the first half again, we weren't in it. They went ahead and it was almost like, oh, here we go again. Can't keep a clean sheet. Okay, let's, we know we've got the problem with the defence. I just don't know where that season-turning game is coming. And I don't think this is going to be it, unfortunately. He's got the Randers game on Thursday. I mean, that could be really embarrassing. I mean, Randers, the lowest team in the Europa League still. And it's like that when Blackburn lost to that team from Norway, was it? I think when they were qualified the Champions League, it could be that embarrassing if we don't go out and do something. But I can't go against my team. I'm going after all that, and I'm going for the draw because, and I'm honest with you, the way things are at the moment, I would be happy to go to Wolves and get the draw.
I'm going to say, Chris, when you said about Randers, I was going to say it could be worse. You could get beat by Deportivo, but I will say no more.
Say no more, don't you? Otherwise, I'll be quoting another team. So, yeah, there we go. So, Dan has gone for 1, 2, 3, 4 draws. I've gone for 2. So, Man United, Brighton. Well, I think that's finished now, hasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Will have done, yeah.
Yes.
Will have done.
It's
97
Man United win. Man United win. Brad, you can thank me for that, Brad. You can send me a check for that point. West Ham, Newcastle. Most of us think it's going to be a draw. Arsenal, Brentford. A split, really. But we all think Villa and Liverpool and Man City are the 3 wins that we all sort of agree on. Steve, thank you very much, mate. Thank you for coming in, as always. I will see you next week. I've got your score for the weekend. I'll text you about that thing we talked about for the small video. Thank you so much for coming on. All my best to you and your family, and I will see you next week, Steve. Thank you very much.
Take it easy, Steve.
Take care, mate. Thank you.
Take
it easy. Bye-bye. Thanks to Steve there for coming on. Always a pleasure. Even I just love him just to ask him about Spurs and Arsenal. Dan, I mean, you're down there very quickly before we go. You're down there at the bottom, and Newcastle have got this money. And I was asked when it first happened on the Newcastle channel, what I, as an opposing fan, what I thought of it. And I must admit, I was of imagine that in a way, we've all got, if you like, money owners. Even Burnley have got somebody that's come in with a bit of money. But of course, it's all relative, Leicester, if Oldham look at Leicester, they'll think, bloody hell, look, they're a really rich club. But if Leicester look at Man City or Newcastle, it's like, shit, we got a bit of money, but they're, we're like Northern Rock and they're like, HSBC. You said earlier about that they're going to buy the way out of it, but would you, if that was Burnley, if they'd come in and bought Burnley, you'd be thinking differently, wouldn't you?
Practically, I've Chris. They bought Trippier and Chris Wood. They might as well have bought bloody Burnley.
Oh, true.
To be fair, you know what? Yeah, I could, and I know what you're saying. If the shoe was on the other foot, yeah, we'd have bought our way out of it as well. And I'd 110% said exactly the same. We've bought our way out of it. But it has been paying off for them. And as soon as when they brought Chris Wood in, I thought, nah, not going to do anything at Newcastle. Won't do out at Newcastle. They've just done it to weaken us, and that's it. However, when they signed Trippier, that's when I was a bit like, ooh, that one hurt. That one hurt because, especially when you saw him in the press come out and say, if I ever come back to the Premier League, I want to play for Burnley again. I want to play for Burnley. I want to play under Sean Dyche.
But you said there, Premier League, when I come back to the Premier League, because you won't be.
Yeah, well, I mean, he came out afterwards and said when he got his move to Newcastle, and he said the first person to text me was Sean Dyche saying, you know I don't do favourites, but I've always said that you're my... Although I've always said that I've sort of got a soft spot for yourself, but I'm really disappointed in you.
Typical Sean, that, isn't it? You know,
can't blame. I mean, Trippier's now sidelined, so that that's 2 results they've had recently as well. Pretty much, on two Trippier free kicks that have helped them get results. So I'm looking forward to the fact that now that Trippier's not in the Newcastle side, is that their source of sort of trying to play that on the front foot gone?
They didn't have him at the weekend, and they won. It's interesting. It does.
Oh no, they did. They won 1-0 due to his free kick, but he went.
Oh,
he had to go
he
off.
went off, didn't he? So he was on, and he went off. Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. I find the bottom, to be honest with you, at the moment a little bit more interesting than the top, but it depending how results go, you could see the bottom 3, unfortunately, getting a little bit cut off. Dan,
exactly.
I'd like to say it's been a pleasure, but it has for you. I don't know if it has been for me. Thank you so much for popping on.
Not a problem, anytime.
And just to see how you do. If I will probably more than likely speak to you before, but if not, of course, I'm on your show doing exactly the same as we've just done now on Friday at 9. Where can people find us doing that, Dan?
They can find us on Turf Moorhouse TV, just below there. Just below my cap, right there. So, yeah, you can catch us there at Turf Moorhouse TV, and we're all on all social media. We've even tried to delve into TikTok. I need to do a little bit more than that. But
I do as well. I delved into it, and then I've sort of delved out again. I can't be just doing these short videos.
It's all the editing and making it into that perfect thing and trying to make sure that it all fits right. So, yeah, there's a lot of.
I think basically it means we're too old for it, Dan. It's a youngster's thing, Give it to your daughter; she'll do it in 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're not down with the kids anymore, Chris. We're not down with the kids.
No, we're just down. I'm like a tortoise that falls on its back. If I fall over, I just can't get back up again.
We've got a Mickey Flanagan situation in Burnley. We're down.
You have David. Dan is a good lad. Sub to his channel. Great to have him on.
David. Thank you.
Well done, David. You're a good man. As long as you've subbed to me as well, of course. Thank you so much. You may be popping on. What we've got coming up? Well, I'll tell you what we've got coming up this week. Funny you should ask me that, Dan. I'll tell you. What have you got coming up, Chris? I will tell you. Tomorrow we got the Randers. I always want to say the Randy Rangers preview at 7:00 with Brad. I don't know what we're going to have to talk about because there's very little to know about Randers other than they play in Denmark. That's about as exciting as it gets. The quiz at 9. It looks like it's going to be Reece versus Mike. Mike might have to pull out. We don't know, but I think he's going to be okay. So we're looking forward to that quiz tomorrow night. It's going to be the big one. And then we've got the match, the big match, the match of the week. Well, big match as ITV used to call it. Leicester versus Randers on the 17th. Followed obviously by the post-match. Then at 7:00, we've got the Wolves preview, followed by this guy's channel here. Whichever one way or another. Him. And we'll be over there doing exactly the same as this. Dan, how are you feeling, says Doug.
I'm a lot better now. A lot better. Just had sickness and the old squits. And it was just a case of having a dodgy tummy, and I was just riddled in pain. I couldn't get myself away from the toilet. Couldn't get myself away from Tottenham Stadium.
Well, all I can say is,
there's a lot of that. There were a lot of that. Jesus, it was one of those situations, you know, when you're desperate and you think, oh, I'll go to one of them public toilets, and you walk in, you're like, you have to walk in like that.
Yeah. I refuse to do a number 2 when I'm out, you know. But I know where this conversation's going to go because I've been on a channel with you before, so I'm going to end it before it gets as bad as yours.
Hey, I'm saying nothing.
If you want to check out what I mean, go on to Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and check out the it's a funny old game subheading, and you'll find out about Dan's salad fingers. What Dan can do with the courgette is nobody's business. And I don't know what it says about my channel is the fact that I'm about to stop and everybody's coming on. That probably says a lot about me. Thanks, guys. But thanks a lot, Dan. And I'll see you. I'll speak to you before then, I've no doubt. But I hope you did give your mum my best. And I will see you on Friday at 9 o'clock.
You certainly will, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you much. Cheers. Thanks for popping on, Dan. Thanks to Dan there. Do check out, like I say, Leicester Till I Die TV. And while you're checking it out, give us a sub. Like this video as well. It would be absolutely very decent of you. But check out Dan. It's me. It's Rich from Eagle Eye TV, a Crystal Palace fan. And Dan, the three of us just wetting ourselves, basically. Absolutely. The conversation went to places a conversation should never go. Thanks for watching. If you are catching this up on podcast, thank you very much for listening. The podcast goes from strength to strength, so thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock when we will be talking all thing Randers. Ooh, I don't know what what we're going to talk about, but there we go. Got your message, Dan. Thanks very much, and I will see you all tomorrow at 7. Stay safe, take care, and remember what I always say: don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Goodbye.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
The Leicester Till I Die shop is now open.
For all your Leicester Till I Die merchandise,
visit the Leicester Till I Die shop at our website. Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
That's all, folks.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.